Hello there and welcome to the DBP Pest Control channel. Hello and welcome to another video from DBP Pest Control with me, Doug Boyce. Now this evening I've come along to one of my ratting permissions. The landowner has seen quite a few rats running around in the daytime, which means that there's quite a few around to be had during the night too. Being mainly nocturnal, if you're kitted up correctly with infrared or thermal, you're going to see a lot more in the evenings. Now it's early December now, so it's pretty cold out there, so I've got my big boy's coat on and another one underneath that. I'm using my BSA Ultra this evening, which is ideal for this sort of thing because it's zeroed at 20 meters, which gives you a fantastic range of shots between, say, 6 or 8 meters if you get that close, right out to 20 and beyond. Now this little yard doesn't warrant long range shots, so the little Ultra is perfect. Now on top of that, I've got my Hawk 2x7x32 scope with the PARD NV007 on the back and a little pulsar infrared illuminator planted on the top. Now that's just to save the battery on the PARD. So I'll just go and get set up, get the tripod out, my trigger stick, and see what's about. So I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Okay, so I've set up here. Unfortunately I've already grabbed the attention of half a dozen of the pigs here, being rather vocal. So I'm just going to walk around and scan with the Axion 30 thermal and see what materializes. Well, I didn't have to wait too long for the first one. I just did a quick scan with the infrared and saw a rat poking its head out of a feeder trough, so that's the first one of the evening. After a few more minutes at that first location, I didn't really see anything worth hanging around for. So I decided to go to an adjacent barn and look at a water trough that normally has some rats around it. This time was no exception. Well, as you can see, lovely headshot there. That's the one that was on top of the water trough just now. That's number 2 of the evening. Now, as ever with rats, always observe the golden rule: don't pick them up with your hands. I use one of these litter picker jobbies, very lightweight. Can be a bit of a pain sometimes carting it around, but the last thing you want to be doing is handling rats. So after that second shot on the water trough, I did spend another half an hour or so spotting. Didn't really see anything worth hanging around for. I did notice they put some new bedding in with the animals, and whereas I did see a couple of heat signatures underneath the bedding, the rats weren't making themselves targets. They remained under the straw. So I decided to go down to a nearby permission and see if I could add to my tally down there. Now, one thing to remember when you're moving around from one permission to another with an air rifle, or any rifle come to that, always remember to be safe. The last thing you want to do is have to explain to a police officer who might stop you why you have a loaded rifle out of the bag or in an unzipped bag in the back of your car, where in his view you could reach round, pick it up and use it. Okay, so don't put yourself in that position. Always go to the trouble, even if it's 2 minutes down the road. Unload your gun, make sure there's nothing in the barrel, uncock it, make sure it's absolutely safe, put it back in the bag and zip it up. Okay, always make the time to do that. I just arrived at this other permission. This is where previous video I came down here after a fox which never appeared. Now I've only been here a second or two and I've already noticed one rat over there behind one of the geese or goose sheds. So I'm just going to go and have a look, see if I can take that one out. Well, that's number 3 in the bag. One thing I noticed when I left the yard up there is that there is quite a thick fog here. Now, that's not a problem for the thermal spotter, but when you're lining up to take the shot with the infrared PARD, it's a bit of a challenge because the infrared bounces back off the fog, so you don't get as good an image, but we got that one anyway, so I'll have a mooch round and see if there's any more. This one proved to be quite a difficult shot. It was at about 25 meters, maybe a little more, but I had to thread the pellet through that fairly close-knit fence there that you can see, and the rat was sitting underneath the shed, so I had limited visibility of it, but managed to get a perfect headshot. Not entirely sure what that is, however. One of the things that can fool you often when you're using a thermal, and this has just happened to me twice here, where you've got a lot of animals and livestock in the yard. It's very easy to scan and pick up what you think is a rat, and you end up watching that spot for a couple of minutes only to discover that it's a pile of poo. Unfortunately, I know there's a big rat in there, but this area, these pens here are quite busy, quite full with goats and their young, so it's actually quite difficult to take a shot safely. So I think I'm going to have to leave this pen for the moment. So here I am back home again in the comfort of my front room. I did spend a few more minutes there on the farm, but it was just getting more and more foggy, and it was getting more and more difficult to see through the night vision. Although I could see through the thermal, I could spot them, but couldn't see them well enough to shoot them. So I decided to cut my losses and come home. I did get 4 between the 2 locations. And, you know, the way I look at it is simply this: if only one of those was a female, you know, the average female rat can have up to 12 in a litter, and 7 litters a year. So you do the maths, and for my money, it was a worthwhile exercise going out this evening. So yeah, better than sitting in front of the TV, maybe. Anyway, this is Doug Boyce signing off for DBP Pest Control, and we'll catch you again soon. Bye now.